down inside so we can go do an activity today. Go do something.
At this point, I'm just trying to figure out what the fuck is going on and what we're doing because I don't have time for Natalie or her chinians.
What's up? Why are you looking like that?
You don't know how to make eye contact?
Why are you looking at me like that?
Are you scared to make eye contact?
I'm not scared of nothing.
I'm not scared. I never said you were scared.
But you're looking at me like
I can look at you however I want to. Don't touch me.
Hi guys, welcome to my channel. It's your girl Touche and I'm so happy to be your host once again. So in today's video we are going to be going through the most released episode of Baddies South Central by the team name Ten-a-key, Cashville Ten-a-key. Okay. Yeah, so if this is something you're very much interested in, please go ahead to stick with me to the very end. Obviously, you know I'm going to give you the clips, just snippets of it in between. And yeah, if you're new to this channel, please go ahead to smash the subscribe button as you support this channel to move further in its career. Yes, before I ramble, yeah, let's catch me in the next video, okay? Episode was like, it started from the continued fight between Slim, Chris Rock, Rowley, and what's her name, Jayla. So what happened was, obviously you already know from the previous episode, Slim had thrown shoes at Chris Rock, and that was how the fight between Chris Rock and Slim, you know, started. I missed Slim and Chris Rock fighting. Rowley tagged in, right? Yeah, Rowley, I think Rowley tagged in and that was when Jayla was like, you're not going to run up on my friend, and that was when she went to fight Rowley, if I'm not getting the scenarios wrong, because I know that at some point, like it was really scattered and messy, because okay, yeah, Rowley was about to tag in when Jayla kept saying things like you're not gonna run up, and that was when a whole verbal altercation happened between Rowley and Jayla, and that was when Jayla was actually the first person to throw a punch, and that was when the fight between Jayla and Rowley happened. I missed Slim and Chris Rock still fighting, obviously. At some point, Slim and Rock were broken off by the security or the production team, and then I saw Chris Rock try to run up on Rowley, and yeah, I think Slim wanted to intersect, but she was being held by the guards, and you know, so all she could do was shout, you know, keep shouting at them to leave her alone. But yeah, it was like this fight was like a full-blown fight, honestly, because like there were bruises, and there were people. Slim had like bruises, scratches on her neck. Baby girl Rock had some kind of bruise on her eye. Rowley had a bruise on her finger. So like it was a whole lot. I think at some point the ladies were now finally separated. Rowley and Slim went back into the house to get attended to. Their bruises needed to be attended to, so they went back into the house, you know, sitting down and, you know, allowing the medic to do their thing, or allowing, because there was a guy there that was attending to them. And while Rock went over to the lake to like get a breather, whilst Jayla remained in the bus. Now, at the time when these ladies were separated, Jayla was in the bus ranting about what rambling basically. Natalie Nunn was also in the same bus. She did look like she was very disappointed, but at the same time she was tired. Now, yes, the reason why these girls were even, or why the fight was even broken off, was because they got to find out that the house next door was owned by the sheriff of Charlotte City, and so immediately this information came to them. Natalie was like, girls, we need to keep it low. In fact, we need to like round this shit up and hop in the bus and move, because anything that escalates from here is like Donald Trump kind of thing. So yeah, she like, that was one of the major reasons why they were able to like even break up that fight, because that fight was really really heated.
A brawl. Lions fighting hyenas and shit. Shit was crazy.
Like, it was really heated. Obviously, I'm going to attach snippets, so a snippet of it, so that you just have a feel of how it went. Rock came back from where she had gone to take a breather, and when she came back, she came like she was ready for another round, but she was stopped by the guards, obviously. And then at some point, I think she came down a bit, because I think after she got to the bus, she realized that her ups were not in the bus. I think she was probably, as at the time when she came back from the lake, she was expecting to see probably Rowley and Slim in the bus. That was why she came fully charged for round 2. But obviously, when she got to the bus, Rowley and Slim, she found that Rowley and Slim were not there. So I think that was another thing that helped her to even calm down. Nali obviously came down to go get the girls, and I think at the point of coming down from the bus, Jayla came down and started rambling about her, saying things about Nali and all of that. And so, like, if you ask me, Jayla was doing too much. If Jayla, first of all, had no business in this fight, she had no business sticking up for Chris Rock, because she didn't know Chris Rock from... I don't know why all the girls are so drawn to... First of all, it was Anne trying so hard to fit in, or trying so hard to get some kind of likeness from Chris Rock, or some kind of loyalty from Chris Rock. It then shifted from Anne to Jayla. But anyway, Jayla came down and started rambling on about, not saying, people saying that she said things about Nali and all of that. And Nali was thrown off at that, basically, because Nali, I think, during her narrative, or I think when she finally walked away from the bus, she basically said that she was a bit confused as to why, a bit shocked and confused as to how Jayla switched up on her and all of that. And initially, in fact, I feel like, because there were actually 2 buses, because of the whole fight and because of the animosity, how heated the animosity was at that point in time within the girls, or amongst the girls, they had to use separate buses, right? And I think if not for what Jayla had done, if not for the weird vibe that Nali had gotten from Jayla, Nali would have been in the first bus with Jayla. But I think that whole thing that Jayla did there threw Nali off, and that was why after she went in to get Rowley and Slim and came back, she basically stayed in the second bus with Rowley, Slim, Persuasion, and that basically those were the only girls in the second bus, while the first bus had the rest girls. That's Anne, Bree actually was in the first bus, Bree, Scotty, Jayla, Chris Rock. Yes, so it was like 4 here and 5 here. So yes, that was basically it, and that was how they finally left Charlotte in 2 different shuttles, because if you can recall, the pink baddie bus had abandoned them in the previous episode, which was why they needed to outsource for an alternative, and that was how they got these 2 local shuttles.
Back up, back up. I worry, come on. Hey, get on the grass. No, fuck that grass.
Wait, whoa.
Okay. All right.
You're grabbing my hair. Get the
Bitch,
So the girls finally leave Charlotte City, and it's a long ride, but very much later on they get to take a pause. So the first scenario that is being shown, or the first bus that is being shown, is the bus, of course, that has Chris Rock and Jayla, and basically the girls come down from the bus and they're talking about everything. And that is when Jayla makes it clear that when she woke up that morning, she had already told Chris Rock to be on game mode, because she already felt or could sense that something was going to happen very much later that day. And she rambled a whole lot about the things that had happened. But she basically said this when she was back in the bus. But when they were outside anyway, basically all she said to Rock was basically that she was going to be there for Rock, to fight for Rock. And Rock also said the same thing, that she was not gonna allow Jayla to handle her fight alone. And Jayla basically was like, no, that she could handle her fight alone. But like Rock was like, yeah, but I'm not gonna allow you to anyway. Okay, so over to Rowley's side of the bus. They had also taken a break. They had paused, right? And yes, Rowley was out smoking on a blunt with Slim, and Nally basically came to join them to have a great time, or to, like, you know, basically just release some energy. It was at this particular point in time that, you know, Rowley now went really deep, telling Nally that, you know, Jayla was like the fakest bee amongst all the girls because she said the most trash about Nally. And then Rowley also talked about like how the whole thing escalated into like a 4 fight, like, you know, a pair against the other pair. Basically, according to Rowley, she said that, you know, she waited for Chris Rock to be done with the fight with Slim, and that was when she voiced if Chris Rock wanted a piece of her, and Chris Rock obviously came aggressively saying yes, that she was ready to delve in. And that was when you know, Miss Jayla interjected saying that nah, she wasn't gonna hop into a fight with Chris Rock without going through her, something like that. And that was when, you know, the whole thing escalated. And then they also talked about draws. Honestly, I didn't really take my time to listen to that because it was pointless to me what I was listening to. But yeah, like, she basically was making fun of draws, and I think the owner of the draw, according to Rowley, she said that Jayla didn't wear drawers, and it was only like one draw she had, I think it green in color or so. Now over to the other side of the bus, by this time around the girls had gone in, like Chris Rock and Jayla had gone back into the bus. They continue. I really don't know how this whole TV show is set up, because when someone is talking about a particular specific topic, you get on the response on that topic on this other end. So probably, I don't know how the Zeus network team was operating. Probably when, I don't know, Zeus, you know, obviously there were like 2 different production teams, one with the boss that had Chris Rock and the other one with Rowley. So I'm guessing that maybe they were like kind of like giving the girls information on, oh, what these ones were talking about and what the other ones were talking about. Because like, I was trying to understand how, for some reason, the conversation one boss was having was also shared or was similar. Because okay, yes, it's so understandable to know or to hear the girls talk about the fight, but then when one boss or one group is now talking about drawers, and all of a sudden you hear the next group talking about the same thing, it was more like they were just like, hey, okay, now these girls, they're talking about this, oh yeah, they're talking about this, now you guys should chip in something. And I'm like, bro. But anyway, yeah, so over to Chris Rock's boss. They basically responded to that whole draw situation with saying that, you know, if there was anybody that was a caricature in that aspect, it was actually Rowley, because Rowley's draws were so large and all of that. So like, this particular scene, a whole lot was said, so I'm going to try my best to like capture everything. Okay, finally they have reached Nashville. It's a new day, and the girls come out from the airport. Prior to this particular scene, they couldn't, obviously it was supposed to be a long road trip to Nashville, but because of the strings of events that had happened, them losing their pink pretty bus to the local shuttles they had to use that were not even willing to take them as far as Nashville, they had to at some point converge and get a flight. So yes, but prior to getting this flight, I forgot to state something that was said. Now, remember, this whole fight started from Slim throwing shoes at Chris Rock, and I know as a viewer you probably would have been confused as to why she did so. I know she said something about, you know, she entering a room and Christian threw a bottle at her, right? Now, and obviously that was also what I heard. We didn't know exactly what transpired, because obviously whatever happened that night was shot off, or it was done off camera. So it was back when they were still in the bus, right, still in that local shuttle, that baby girl Jayla stated that the reason why Chris Rock, or I don't know, basically she said that apparently the girls were all informed that they were to dress up so they could go hang out. All the girls excluding Jayla and Chris Rock. So apparently as at that point in time, the girls were dressing up. And I think Slim, I'm not sure if I got this right, or if I got the whole explanation right from Jayla, but I think as at that point Slim was, you know, she had gone into their room or something, and she was like, what's up, like, you know, probably why you guys not dressed or something. And that was basically, that was where she halted. Yeah, she didn't say much from there. According to the day they finally arrived in Nashville, because like I said, they couldn't do a full road trip since the local shuttles were not willing to take them as far as Nashville, right? So they had to at some point use a flight. So the next morning the girls arrived and they splitted. Now finally it was the same group of girls. The only difference was that this time around Bree, who was in the previous first bus, was now in the next bus with Persuasion and the rest of the girls, right? So now in the different buses, obviously the different sets of girls were still having their different conversations. Now in Nali's bus, a whole lot was said about, you know, Jayla being fake and all of that. Yeah, but like, you know, Nali was like, you know, that she wasn't really happy about the whole energy, you know, amongst the girls, and that she for one would love to have a good time, that, you know, she would love her clique of girls that when they get to the house they drop their bags, dress up and go out and have a good time. That, you know, she doesn't know for the other girls, she doesn't know what energy the other girls are gonna be on, but for this clique of hers, she would really appreciate it if, you know, they could just put whatever differences they have aside. Once they get to the house, drop their bags, and then they can now all go out and have a good time. Now over to Chris Rock's bus. All these other girls in this bus were basically angry birds, like and a whole lot was said by virtually each one of them. Anne had something to say. Anne, who didn't have a say in any of this, had a lot to say. I think a question was thrown at her as to why she was not, you know, looking all glammed up, and she was like, it's been a while since she actually glammed herself up, because like basically ever since her last fight or brawl, that it's like game on, like she has to be prepared. So like, you know, that there's so much animosity amongst the girls. And you know, that was when baby girl Jayla came in talking about Nali, saying that, you know, Nali is the one to like throw stones and hide the hand, that's why she has a problem with Nali and all of that. Still recapping the fight and everything, like, you know, what had happened previously at Charlotte's, the whole fight. And then I think when she said something about Nali throwing the stone and hiding her hand, that was when Chris Rock hopped in saying that, you know, that was the problem, that's the problem she also has about Nali, that, you know, all of the fights that have actually been started, or all of the escalated fights, were actually from or through Nali. In my mind, I'm like, hell no, it's actually not. In my opinion, I think and I know that Chris Rock is wrong, because I feel like the times Nali actually came out to say, okay, what's your problem? Do you have a problem? And do you have a problem? You have a choice as a mature, beautiful woman to like address things in a very mature manner instead of resorting to violence. You have that choice. She actually even gave everyone the platform to like address things or address their issues so that they could move forward. I feel like Chris Rock is pained, or I feel like whatever narrative or, you know, opinion Chris Rock has about Nali, basically she said Nali was an instigator, was the instigator, and in my own view, that is basically wrong, because as an older person in that group, she has the whole right to try to bring the girls back on the same ground. right? And that was basically what she was trying to do. Give every single one of them the opportunity to air their opinions and try to address their issues so they could move forward. So as an individual, you have the choice to decide to do it in a cordial manner or resort to violence. And obviously they resorted to violence, so how is that any of Natalie's fault? I'm not a Natalie fan, but I can tell you when she is wrong and when she isn't wrong. And if you ask me, Natalie had no business or had no fault or had no business instigating whatever fights they had. Everything or every fight that happened in that group was solely on each and every one of them. Okay, had a lot to say about Natalie being an instigator, and that was why she had a problem with that. And that was when Anne chipped in saying that, you know, Natalie is supposed to be like a better figure, be a better role model, because if she says truly she has been in the game for like 15 years, that she's not supposed to be involved in their fights. You know, that the fights are supposed to be amongst them. If you ask me, she hasn't been involved in your fights. You guys have been the ones trying to push it over to her, especially from Jayla. So like, Anne, you're saying exactly what she has been doing, so please keep quiet. Yes, now moving on, I think Scotty also has something to say, and I don't know why she felt like she had the right to say anything. First of all, Scotty really disappointed me by picking a side, because as far as I'm concerned, she was supposed to play neutral in that situation. Now, according to her, in the previous in her narrative, she said she chose a side because she followed the list or the group of persons that she knew better. And if you ask me, the group you say you know better, you don't, because you only just got there. And if there's anybody you should have even known better, it's supposed to have been Natalie. So if you are actually saying that you follow the group of persons you knew better, you're supposed to have been in Natalie's bus and not that bus you were in. I can say, okay, the first time when it was Natalie on the other end and you on this other end, that's understandable, because Natalie at first was in that bus. It was very much later when she got that, you know, whole negative response from Jayla that she moved to the next. But for this second time, you solely chose to be in the bus you were in. So please, let's be honest. You were liking the energy you were getting from those girls, and you preferred to be there for reasons best known to you. And honestly, I'm not judging you. But yeah, moving on. So Scotty was like, you know, that she doesn't appreciate the fact that Rowley had to like jump in. That, you know, whatever issue is had between anybody should stay between those two persons, right? And it shouldn't have to like escalate where people have to be like, you know, tagging to like fight for whoever. And yeah, when she said that, I think both Jayla and Chris Rock cut in saying that it was already too late for that. That, you know, Rowley had done whatever she had to do. So now, whenever they saw or whenever there was a fight, there was gonna be a whole lot of tag, right? So basically, that was what she said. Jayla still went ahead to saying something like, you know, that she was really hurt by Natalie. That, you know, basically talked a lot about Natalie's hypocrisy, saying that she knew that she was so close to Natalie, that she knew Natalie all the way down to her routine, that she could tell you or she could give you a rundown on Natalie's routine. So like, it really pains her and all of that, blah 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 blah. If you ask me, that was all I was hearing. But yeah, back to Natalie's boss. But Natalie also had something to say about Jayla's, basically mentioning the whole disappointment as well. And also saying that, you know, she really just didn't want to like, you know, have to like play into this whole energy that was already settling with the girls. That all she wanted to do was just go out and have a wonderful, swell time. And that was the mind, that was where her head was. That was the headspace she was in. But she doesn't know what the other girl's headspace was like. Now, if I'm to answer that for Natalie, over to the other girl's boss, they were very much ready to get in. Because according to Jayla was like, when she went to the house, she was going to be ready to confront whoever. Same thing with Chris Rock, and same thing with, like, it was opposite energies, if you ask me. Because, I mean, everybody had fought. It was the next day. Majority of the ladies had cooled down. If you ask me, ladies in Natalie's bus were like, you know, toned down and level-headed. But the girls here were very, very angry. Very, very angry. And it's so obvious that these people, the anger was from the fact that these ladies And when I say ladies, Chris Rock and Jayla were left out of going outside to party. So like baby, it's just one hangout though. Like it's just one hangout. Like what's the fuss about? I mean, I feel like Jayla at this point to me is giving that Jayla is really pissed that she's not getting the favoritism or the treatment, the partial treatment she was hoping to get from Natalie, especially knowing that she knew Natalie that much, right? She wasn't getting it from Natalie, so that was what made her I feel like, for me, in my opinion, I feel like that is what made Jayla to actually flip on Natalie, because Natalie basically was not giving her any sort of partial treatment whatsoever, especially for the fact that Natalie was ready to even hop out with the other girls and leave her back at home. So like, because if you ask me, like, that's not enough to be angry, mad. What do you want? Like, what's the excuse? Like, what really is your excuse, right? What's your excuse that you were abandoned for just one party? So I feel like majority of the angry birds in this first bus were angry over reasons that they were very much guilty of. If you ask
on the flight, and Natalie is in front of me, Bree and Persuasion are behind me. So I turned around and I told them, y'all bitches want to keep talking about, I'm talking shit about Natalie. Anything I said to Natalie and or about Natalie in regards to her, I said it to her and I told her why I said it. Did I not, Natalie? She said yeah, and I said, so okay then, so what are you bitches talking about her? And I'm talking about her. Tell me what the fuck I said. Period. Persuasion told me, no, it's getting too rowdy. We're in the airport. And I'm like, now it's getting rowdy and we're in the airport till somebody checking you. But before y'all had so much to say, y'all hoes are fake, and when we get to the house, we gonna see what's up. Since you got so much to say, run that same shit back.
Bus finally pulls up at the house, and the first bus to pull up obviously is Natalie's bus. The girls come down, and Natalie asks her girls just stay in place while they wait for the other girls to come out. And almost immediately after these girls come out and have arranged themselves, the next vehicle pulls up and brings out the other set of girls, who come out looking, like I said, angry, ready to stomp on something. And obviously Jayla is the ringleader and she's right there in front. As Rowley would say,
Jayla looking like she ready to fight. She look like the strong-faced bitch she is. Muscles flexing in her goddamn cheekbones.
Like, Rowley is very funny. But yeah, so basically Natalie had like a little chit chat. I wouldn't say chit chat, but like basically Natalie had like said a couple things to them. She basically told them that she didn't know what energy they were coming with, but for her, the girls on her side, they were ready to go out and have a good time, right? That there were two houses, right? And that she knows that there was a lot of animosity, there was a lot of bad negative energy, which was probably advisable for the girls to split. But if it was left to her, she would say all the girls should still converge in one house so that they can try to figure out their differences and all of that. And she went ahead to say that she went ahead to ask what they were about, because she was ready to like she earlier mentioned, drop their bag or drop her bag and go out to have a good time, because they had lines or tons of activities to catch up with. And if they were going to keep on moving with the energy that they had at that particular time, that they were not going to meet up with those activities. So she basically was like, we are ready, or I would love for us ladies to trash things out by first of all converging in the same house. Secondly, trying to come to some kind of mutual ground and have the best fun, and also meet up with the activities that had been lined up for them. After that brief chat, she kept quiet and gave room for whoever to speak. And that was when Jayla came out, stern look, eye to eye contact with Natalie. And the next thing I heard from Jayla was like, are you scared to give me eye contact? And Natalie was like, no. For what reason? Why would she be scared to give Jayla an eye contact? Yeah, and you know, Nali was like, why are you standing like you're ready to do something? And you know, Jayla responded with, I'm about what you're about. I'm about whatever you're about, you know. And basically that scenario was cut short there, but then they gave us like snippets of what the next episode was to come with. In the next snippets we saw Jayla basically authoritatively told Nali that, you know, that they were not gonna share houses, that Nali can keep her dogs, in her words, her dogs in her house while she and her girls remain chill. Oh, basically, I didn't state it right. She said, you can keep your dogs in a leash on your side, and I'll keep my girls cool on my own end. I was like, I thought these girls were violent. I mean, you guys, they're not really violent, because I don't see how somebody will call you a dog and you will still be standing and looking at the person. Like, where? How now? How? I was expecting some kind of rumble, like, but anyway, at that point in time there was no reaction. And yeah, so like, yeah, there's a whole lot of other snippets that will show for the next episode. But yeah, if you would like to get a scoop on that on the next episode, which is gonna, I'm sure, definitely very sure it's gonna come with fire, then you know what to do. First of all, subscribe to my channel so that you will not miss it when it drops. Okay, yeah, this brings us to the end of this. If you enjoyed my recap, but let me know, first of all, before we even end this video, let me know in the comment section your opinion or your thoughts on everything that has been talked about so far from the beginning to the end of this episode. And let me know what you think about the episode and what you think about Jayla ganging up on Natalie with Chris Rock. You know, the whole fight between Rowley, Slim, Jayla, Chris Rock, and then Scotty. Let me know what you think about Scotty immediately choosing Jayla's side. Yeah, let me know in the comment section. But yeah, if you're new to this channel, please go ahead to smash the subscribe button. I'll see you in my next video. Bye.